Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering small businesses such as yourself and hand-holding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jaiseelan. On the show tonight, every Tuesday we bring to you a series of conversations with celebrities who've turned entrepreneur. On today's show, we're bringing you the founding duo behind StepsetGo, a fitness app. One of the founders needs absolutely no introduction. He's very well known in the sporting and the cricketing field, Zaheer Khan. I'm talking to him and his co-founder about why the fitness market is growing as much as it is, why they have gamified really this entire fitness process and journey, and also what their future plans are looking like. Listen in. Here in our studios talking about something that's top of everyone's mind. I know it's top of my mind, and that's fitness. Not a lot of us manage to actually convert that into something, but that's the market both of you are chasing after. And good having you here. And maybe before we really talk about the market, how it's changing, and your advice for entrepreneurs who are perhaps interested in this space, my first question, and Zaheer, let me come to you on this one.
First of all, thank you for having us over. I know it's a pleasure to be out here on your show. The app and the connect is basically around fitness, and for me, obviously being a sports person, it was always of top priority to maintain myself and do something in fitness. So I actually started with I started my fitness journey with Pro Sport, and Pro Sport was with the vision of basically filling the gap of expert advice around fitness, not only for sports people but also for amateur athletes and fulfilling their needs, not only with regard to fitness but also with the injury management. So that is the injury to coming back to full fitness and then getting back to what you really want to do. Sure. Is a very important aspect of any sports person's life. So we were using those kind of methods for to be accessible by wider audience. With that thought, the StepsetGo concept came along. It was pretty much a dinner conversation between friends, and it just kind of evolved from there. But the idea was basically to get everyone into fitness. And how do you do that? How do you incentivize them to take up their fitness journey? And the results were good. When we launched our app, I remember it was the response was such that it kind of took us in a spin, which was something a good headache. Yeah, it was, the numbers were just growing exponentially, and we were not able to keep up. And our team actually was we had to really move fast in terms of growing our team. So that has been our journey. It has been superb. But the whole idea is to get someone motivated to walk more, and get someone to do more each and every day. So the gamification aspect is that. But I keep telling this story to everyone, every interview I go to, is that when we were in the testing phase of the app, there's this gentleman who actually decided to walk to get headphones, and that headphones was basically was a gift to his nephew or niece, and he lost about 8-10 kgs just by doing that, just by having that goal. And it's a great story to tell to your loved one also, that I walked for you.
I lost weight and
I lost weight and I got you. So so
it's
that
not just headphones. I understand you were talking to me offline about someone who's won a bike as well. A couple of bikes actually have been given away.
Yes.
And you were talking about gamification, and I want to pick up on that and come to you perhaps on this one, Shivjeet. Your website opens with the fact that it says it's as easy as walking and as exciting as shopping. Why is it necessary perhaps to have that hook? What has been maybe your biggest challenge when you were exploring setting up in this market, and how you were overcoming that?
So yeah, so you kind of summed that up perfectly, because is it necessary to have that primary hook? And what we noticed in the market was the whole sweaty January model in play. What that is essentially is, on the 1st of Jan, I'll make a commitment saying I am going to go to the gym, I'm going to buy new clothes, I'm going to get a personal trainer, and I'm going to have a six-pack by May. All these goals are unrealistic, right? And when you start that journey, you give up about 10-15 days in, because you don't see any change in your physical appearance, and there's a limited amount of motivation you have, right? And when that runs out, you'll drop down, and then you'll start that journey again when guilt catches up with you 6 months later, and you'll blame what you were using back then, suppose it was an app, for the loss of your motivation, and you'll move on to the next application. So with StepsetGo, we wanted to break that cycle a little bit. We also were looking at a much wider audience, right? And that wider audience, now you have the core fitness audience who are trying all these apps, who are going to the gym but failing, right, to some degree, and then starting it again. But it's a good cycle to be on, because you're at least trying. You have a much wider audience that is not even taking the first step, but know for a fact that they need to inculcate some sort of fitness into their lifestyle. How do you get them to start doing anything? That is when the rewards hook came into play, right? And with the rewards hook, we got them to track the most basic form of fitness. Don't intimidate them, give them a very easy journey to start with. So track your steps, and we added gamification layers there. So the more you walk consistently, the more coins. So StepsetGo works on a model where you download the app, you start walking, you earn coins from every step you take. And these coins can be exchanged for a variety of different
Like the headphones, like
yes, exactly.
Yeah. How large is this market? Reports are suggesting nearly $1.3 billion by 2027. But
Yes.
how are you measuring this market? Because like you're saying, there's a bunch which is going, for instance, to the gym, which is going to apps, which is the measurable market.
Yes.
But then you also have the people who are sitting on the sideline saying, I want to start.
So essentially, the 1.5 billion figure that you spoke about is the Indian fitness app market, and this is very measurable because it's the amount of people that are downloading the applications and transacting inside those applications, right? Currently, it's placed at about 300. It was last year placed at about 315 million. So you can see a vast increase in the last 3 years itself, and it's expected to grow about 20% year on year. So that's where we are reaching 1.5 billion. It's good news for us, because we are inculcating quite a bit of different app features here, right? So our market is potentially very large moving forward.
Zaheer, my question to you is, I'm sure you'd vouch for how important a role nutrition plays when it comes to any sort of fitness, and I noticed that that aspect is not something you've touched upon yet on your app, on your website.
Not yet, but eventually there will be.
Okay.
So right now our goal is to get people moving. So when you start moving, the next step, as you feel more fitter, it's basically motivates you to do more. And then what is the next? So the next step is always either you get yourself to playing some sport, or get yourself to a gym. And once you get that, and I think with the access of knowledge right now across the whole tech industry, knowledge is very easily accessible. So the nutrition aspect will come into play for sure.
Yeah.
And we still feel that just the healthy eating, or just the health food, as a market is still evolving. I think so from that angle, I still feel that we have enough time in our hands to keep adding on things to this app. Our focus is right now to basically cover the whole fitness umbrella. We started with only walking, but we've included now swimming and cycling. So slowly we'll get into that. The wearable is another aspect which we are looking at very keenly. And another exciting part for us is the insurance thing which we are looking at. So we are actually doing tie-ups and collabs with insurance companies where we will be able to give cashbacks for walking more. So that is something which we are very excited with. But eventually we want to cover the whole umbrella under StepsetGo.
Okay, so you're saying wearables, and I'm quite curious. So if you don't already have a wearable, how are you measuring someone, when Therefore, for instance, you were talking about swimming. So how are you really measuring that then?
So the technical part, Shivjeet will be
I'll
able to
take
explain that.
So essentially, right now we are still in the process of tying up with as many fitness wearables as possible. When we don't directly tie up with a fitness wearable, we do it through a Google Fit or an Apple Health, right?
Yeah.
Which is already there. Your fitness wearables usually sync with that for your phone to give you that information. So we sync with those applications to give you that information within StepsetGo. We have layers of authentication though, because you're earning this currency of StepsetGo coins inside. So we have to make sure that you've actually done this. Usually these apps that are intermediate, like your Google Fit, lets you input workout. So you can say I walked 3 kilometers yesterday and I can put it there for my knowledge. But StepsetGo can't take that because it's rewarding you for your steps. So only if you do it and we authenticate it. So we have layers of machine learning that are put inside the application which authenticate your activity, and only if it's valid does it give you coins for it. So swimming is still in testing. We've done running, cycling and walking outdoors. That's what we're working with.
I'm going to take a quick break on that. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. You're watching the Leaders of Tomorrow Celebrity Edition. On the 10th edition of the Leaders of Tomorrow, we ask our entrepreneurs and experts to call out the big trends which are impacting their industry. In tonight's episode, we are talking about how fitness is not just an urban phenomenon, but that more and more people outside of just the metros are also logging onto apps and are becoming more health conscious. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? Listen in. You were saying information, and I want to pick up on that, Zaheer, and ask for both of you to call out the top challenges and the top opportunities when it comes to any entrepreneur who's looking at the fitness space. There's a glut of information. You know, you go to Instagram, you have pretty much every influencer who's, sort of giving you any sort of health information, working out information, etc. How are you breaking that clutter? The top maybe 3 opportunities and the top challenges, not just for you as a company and an app, but for anyone who's starting out in this space. What would you want to say?
Well, I think to keep things simple and the messaging very simple is very important. So I feel that we've able to achieve that. Like for us, it's just about getting rewarded for walking. So it gets as simple as that, and we want you to better yourself each day. So that is the simplicity of the app, and rest of it is just the add-ons which you experience as you go along in the app, on your journey of using the app. So I think that is something which is very challenging for any app to achieve. And I think with StepsetGo we feel proud that we've been able to achieve that simplicity of the app, that you just walk, you will earn coins, and then it's up to you how to make use of that.
Okay.
But your fitness journey can start with with a simple step.
Okay, so that's something that you've converted to an opportunity, that is simplicity. What are the biggest challenges that you've seen in this market starting out?
So inherently the fitness market has the problem of motivation, right? And you need to keep users motivated to make them continue their fitness journey. And continuously providing that motivation is something that you have to innovate on almost a weekly level, because I might lose interest in walking 2 weeks down the line, right? Yeah. So I need to continuously give more things that motivate the user to keep on their fitness journey and to make sure that they understand that they're making progress. So how do we show that they are actually improving their quality of life by this thing? Yeah. That is one of the biggest challenges the industry has. The second inherent problem with the fitness ecosystem is the fact that it requires a lot of manual input of what you are doing inside the application. And whenever we are looking at plans that you spoke about when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to workouts, we are trying to basically take away the barrier of users having to input that, and how much can we authenticate without them actually putting in the effort. Right now, for me, having breakfast and saying that I had one piece of bread, I had one egg, and I had this thing, for me that's too cumbersome a task, right? How do I make it as simple as possible where I have 2-3 clicks, and for me that's done. I have my record, now I can move on with life. That is a challenge that we are overcoming over this thing. So it's less manual inputs, more of as much information given to you as possible about how you're living your life and how to make it healthier.
Okay. Since you're talking gamification, I'm also wondering if you are talking to a very niche audience. Are you talking to the urban youth? Are you talking to someone who's comfortable with apps, etc.? Is that a challenge? And how are you sort of overcoming that challenge?
Not really. So when you talk about gamification, it can be done in a very simplistic manner, and it can be made very, very complicated if you want to, right? And you see this in the gaming industry of mobile games, and the adoption of mobile games is vast in India. So what we've seen is people are okay with trying to understand something that's gamified as long as it's simple enough for them to understand it the first try. As long as it requires somebody else to come and explain it to you, you've lost that audience, right? So the point is to keep it as simple as possible. Even we've been struggling with it a little bit because we're talking to a much wider audience than most people are. So we've been struggling with it, but I think considering for the first time we've heard stories where StepsetGo has made fitness a dinner table conversation, where the grandfather is talking to his grandchild about how many steps he did. That would not have been possible without the gamification element and the social element that is there in StepsetGo.
So you are talking, when you're saying wider audience outside of just the metros?
Yes, absolutely. 50% of our audience is in the metros and the 50% is across. And we haven't done too much paid promotion to have that audience base, right? It's organically grown that way.
Your business was bootstrapped initially, from what I noticed, but you have raised funds since then.
Yes.
So what's that process and what's that journey been like? Zaheer, do you want to take that or?
Well, I think that's how I have come into play. I think being a co-founder, I was also the first investor, you can call it, in the company as such, and then we've come a long way. So like I've mentioned that we had to really grow our team at a faster rate than any other startup, but we've managed to stay on without really seeking investment. So our StepsetGo app has funded itself, you can say, for a larger time, and today's startups, that's not the case. You need to be self-sustained. And that was our initial goal as well. We wanted it to be completely independent, and the revenue from which we were generating from the app was actually put back in the business. So that's how we were approached, and right now we did get the first round of funding, and looking ahead now at a very strategic in a very strategic manner. We want the investors to come, but we also want to make sure that the number of investors coming in is kind of maintained to a minimum number. Okay. So we are looking at partners who can take us to the next level, and that has been the conscious decision we've made. So every decision which we are taking right now is keeping the long-term view also in mind, and the growth of this app has been phenomenal. And the point which you're making, that is it just an urban audience app, or it has a larger reach. I think it has a very large reach because we are talking about walking, and I think being very familiar with how the setup is in a smaller town or tier 2 cities, being grown up in that kind of environment, I know how the life is. You're talking about going for walks. In the morning you'll see everyone just steps out. They will do their morning 1 hour, 1.5 hour walk, and then they continue with their day. So I think this app is very apt for that kind of audience, and for that, if you're getting rewarded, nothing like that. So that has been the vision. With investors coming in, I think we will be able to reach out. So what we've not successfully done as yet is to have a reach out program to that kind of audience. So the numbers right now you're seeing is pretty much even if it's 50-50 to the ratio. I think going forward we would want to change that to maybe 70-80, or 80-20 kind of a ratio, being 80 being from non-metro markets. I think that's our vision, and I think we are on the right track to achieve that.
Oh, fantastic. So if you had any sort of advice for entrepreneurs who are in this space, maybe I'll come to you first. Where is this market headed? Because I think what perhaps the pandemic has taught all of us is that you can't afford to any longer take your health for granted. A lot of people have become more conscious about their health. A lot of people are now logging on more consciously to apps, downloading, etc. What is the future looking like? Where's the growth going to come from?
Okay, so the growth for India is really simple, just because of the penetration that the providers are giving when it comes to internet access, phone access, smartphone access. Just from that perspective, India is a massive, massive country to be involved in the fitness ecosystem, because the know-how and the importance of it is being passed on, right? So just in terms of India being a perfect market for this, it's there, right? How to go about hitting that market is the tougher play here, because we have quite a few startups that are doing something similar, but my advice to them would be to pick one or two things and do that really well instead of trying to do everything. So even StepsetGo, even though while we look like we're doing insurance, we're doing walking, we're doing this thing, the point is to not recreate the wheel. We want to be the authentication layer of any sort of fitness activity, and then create pipes within the ecosystem to lead people to those specific activities. So somebody wants to do a diet plan, we don't want to do it. We want to tap with the best person and give that solution within StepsetGo, but we authenticate it. The whole thing about StepsetGo, it gives the authentication, gamification and social layer, right? And we actually, because we have such a large funnel, we can actually help the entire ecosystem go into because everybody's flavor of fitness is different. For Zaheer, it might be weight loss. For me, it could be trying to become a 42k runner within 4 hours, right? It could be, our goals could be different, and StepsetGo will make sure that it facilitates any sort of solution you want without actually giving it itself. We'll make sure we direct you to the right solution, but we'll authenticate that.
Okay. Congratulations on winning the Atmanirbhar award.
Thank you.
Last year.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for you?
Oh, it means a lot. That was the first time we got validation of what we are doing from the outside. It was, the cherry on top was obviously our Honorable Prime Minister talking about us in his Man Ki Baat podcast, right? So that from the top of our head, that is what it did for us, right? Because we've been doing this for so long, and we've been having conversations, and while we've been getting good growth numbers, revenue numbers, all that, we nobody from the outside of our ecosystem actually authenticated what we were doing and said, okay, you're doing a good job, continue doing it, that, right? So the Atmanirbhar App Innovation Challenge did that for us, saying that we are on the right path, we just need to keep pushing forward. So essentially that was it.
You do need reassurance, right? Like, that you are on the right track. Yeah. And what we've done, like I was mentioning, there are different layers to it, which I think, in our journey, we are still not even achieved 30% of what the actual plans are. Like, in terms of getting small groups, have a competition amongst themselves. You can have a goal as a group. So, that really brings out that team aspect as well. So that is something, which we've been brainstorming, and also the base has been from a team sport. When you are part of a team sport, which I have been, that you need that push from your teammates. At times when you are lagging behind, and that is the whole concept, which we will be introducing in time. We also want to introduce the aspect where you, if you want a particular product and you don't have enough coins, you can actually kind of have a combination of coins and the real money. That is also going to be in the pipeline. So there is various things which we will be introducing as we move along. But the current focus is right now to reach out to as many people as possible. And like how you're mentioning, reach out to the people not only from the metros, but from tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, to get them hooked on to this journey.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Out of time in tonight's conversation. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.